I wake up in a four-poster bed that still smells of Grandmama's lavender water, the silk counterpane the colour of oxidized rose gold. And the first thing I dobe for, I even let my feet touch the Savonnerie carpetes, check my phone for the email that was meant to arrive 7 weeks ago. Nothing, the screen's blue glow makes the room look like a drowned palace. I whisper good morning, University of Wolverhampton, Wolverhampton, the way other children whisper good morning, Teddy, because I was raised to believe politeness is armour, and already the day tastes of rust. I ring them at 8:17 UK time. The international dialing tone is a thin metallic sine wave that drills straight into the petrous part of my temporal bone. Each beep is a little hammer tapping you are stupid, you are stupid. I count the beeps, one for every £1,000 Papa wired them. At beep 23 a woman picks up. Her voice is a cracked saucer. We are reviewing your application. I ask softly, could she define review, because in my Oxford Picture Book Dictionary review means to look again, and if they have been looking for 4 weeks surely, they have memorized every serif on every page of my passport by now. She hangs up, the click is so crisp it could slice prosciutto. I am left holding a 4:37 silence. I ring again, and again, 10 times in 7 weeks. The cost is the equivalent of 3 Dior hair ribbons, the kind I used to braid into my ponies when I still believed the world rewarded effort. Each call is a miniature bereavement. The hope, the hold music, a MIDI version of Greensleeves that sounds as if it was played on a dying Game Boy, the sudden void. I picture the admissions office as a Victorian operating theatre. Rows of clerks in blood-starched collars, forceps labelled applicants, a bucket of rejected dreams slopping under the table. They dab my file casually, like a surgeon wiping a blade. Mama says, darling, perhaps they are busy. Busy is what the serfs say when they forget to polish the silver. I know busy. I have seen busy in the sweat beads on our chauffeur's temples when the Bentley S suspension snapped on the M1. This is not busy. This is contempt wearing busy S hand-me-down coat. Week 5, the website refuses to show me the list of courses. A pop-up insists I must change my cookies. I click the button. Nothing. The cursor keeps blinking like a cat that refuses to come inside. I imagine the server as a senile butler who has misplaced the entire wine cellar and responds by locking the pantry. I am 17. I have coded prettier websites in my Raspberry Pi bedroom at midnight for fun, and yet this 200 million institution cannot hyperlink a biscuit. The absurdity is so dense it could sink the Titanic anew. I fly to Wolverhampton anyway, because parchment promises are holy to girls raised on Austin. Heathrow smells of burnt coffee and the sweat of delayed travellers. The air is thick enough to butter bread with. I wear my powder blue cashmere coat, one that matches my eyes in the mirror when I still recognise theme and clutch, a patent leather folder containing every certificate I ever earned. Laminated, alphabetised, kissed by Grandmama for luck. Google Maps tells me the admissions office is inside a building that upon arrival turns out to have been demolished in 2019. The rubble is charming. Rebar protruding like broken piano strings, a single plastic chair melting in the weak Midlands sun. The map pin pirouettes on my screen, insisting you have arrived. I stand there, a pastel figurine in a post-apocalyptic diorama, and feel the first hot tear slide past the apple of my cheek. It tastes of mascara and jet lag. This, I realise, is the university's first lecture. Navigation is optional, orientation a luxury, you are trespassers in our bureaucratic fog. I ask a passer-by. He mutters something about the other campus. His consonants are blunt, like spoons that have been used to open tins. I trudge 2 miles dragging my valise over cracked
pavements that would shame a Warsaw side street circa 1981. Every step is a paper cut on the soul of my hope. When I finally locate the correct reception, the sign is printed on A4 paper curled like dead birch bark. Inside, the fluorescent lights hum in B-flat, the universal key of migraine. The receptionist, a man whose name...
Businesses near the University of Wolverhampton feel like they were designed by someone who hates joy and owns a How to Fail at Hospitality manual. I stepped off campus expecting at least the polite fiction of welcome. Instead, I met a town that greets you the way a cat greets a bath, cold, clawed, and already plotting your soak in hidden fees. Let me walk you through the mood. Imagine a shopping center whose car park was clearly a medieval torture maze in a past life. The Mander Center, every ramp is so tight that if your car is wider than a slice of toast, the walls kiss your paint like an obsessive ex. Drivers crawl to the rooftop simply to escape, alloys weeping, paint left behind like breadcrumbs. Inside, the center itself sighs, empty units boarded up like closed eyes, the air smelling of damp concrete and broken contracts. Toilets, a sniff test away from biohazard, sinks crusted, loo roll missing in action. The whole place feels rehearsed for a post-apocalypse film, except the cameras never arrived and the extras, pound shops, phone case kiosks, are stuck on loop. Slide a few streets away and the hotels promise manor house charm but deliver soap opera chaos. Take the Mount, a country house that forgot country manners. They will cancel your year-old wedding block 2 weeks before you vow "I do," then act surprised you're upset like a cat wondering why the goldfish is flopping. Bridal suites double-booked, luggage lugged through rain while staff watch from dry doorways, breakfasts billed twice, phones lost then found then lost again, an endless sleight of hand with your sanity as the coin. One couple woke at dawn on their wedding day to staff banging about a leak that somehow required inspecting the window, not the pipes. The manager later offered £20 goodwill, roughly the price of a consolation sandwich, minus the sandwich. Nightlife, Wolverhampton turns the lights on only to warn you. Wolfram Hall, a music venue shaped like a hallway someone stretched, crams you shoulder to shoulder, sightlines blocked by a bobbing sea of heads and £7. 50 pints that taste like someone watered down the regret. Want to pop outside for fresh air? Tough, no readmission, even if you flash your ticket like a VIP rosary. The app they force you to download loves to freeze on entry night, so you queue in the cold, clutching a phone that insists you never existed. And should your friend have trouble walking, don't expect a seat. The venue's idea of accessibility is a tiny balcony at the back, reachable only if you levitate. Thirsty for something cozier? The Lich Gate Tavern looks the part, open fire, real ale, the promise of probably the best little pub until you learn the footnote, if the regulars decide you belong. Wear the wrong trainers and the landlord eyes you like a maths problem. One guest, breathing audibly after a car crash injury, was followed to the toilet on suspicion of, breathing audibly. Another group, fresh from football victory, were told to hush because celebration disturbed the landlady's break. Tables behave like feudal plots, sit in the wrong spot and you're politely banished, pint half poured, confidence fully curdled. Even the gift shops sting. Shop in the Square sounds twee until you notice mugs and t-shirts yelling four-letter words and jokes about women that would make a sailor blush. Complain and the assistant, hair dyed like a neon warning, shrugs as if obscenity were civic pride. Parents wheel prams inside expecting crafts they wheel out explaining new vocabulary to toddlers. Added up and the district around campus feels curated by a committee that met once, sighed twice, and agreed disappointment was cheaper than renovation. Parking costs extra but pays itself back in dents. Hotels charge manor prices for motel surprises. Venues sell tickets to sightless concerts. Pubs serve real ale with real suspicion.
The whole map smells of damp carpet and good intentions gone to die quietly behind fire exits. So if you're visiting University of Wolverhampton, pack patience the way mountaineers pack oxygen. You'll need it to breathe through the letdowns. Bring a car you hate, a phone with offline screenshots, waterproof shoes for hotel hikes, and the polite certainty that every price you see is merely the opener in a longer, sadder conversation. Wolverhampton won't mug you in the alley, it will mug you in the small print. Then offer a loyalty card for the next time you fancy being disappointed.
I am looking into crimes near University of Wolverhampton, and it's like, really sad. Businesses near the university they like, taking advantage of tourists and it's so wrong. Like there was this incident where a shop worker was threatened in Wolverhampton city centre, which is super close to the university. The guy came in, threatened the worker and just walked out. I am guessing the worker must have been super scared, I mean, who wouldn't he be? The police got involved, but I am pretty sure the worker was shaken for a while. And the guy who did it, he's probably still out there, thinking he can get away with stuff like that. And then there was this earth mover thing, where some guy stole this massive machine and drove it around the city centre, causing so much damage. I am thinking what was going through his head, Was he trying to make a statement or something? The police arrested him, but I am guessing he's probably going to get a pretty light sentence, and that s just not fair. It s like these businesses near the university, they ray supposed to be like helpful and welcoming to tourists, but instead they ray taking advantage of them. And it s not just the businesses, it s the people too. They ray like taking advantage of the fact that tourists are like unfamiliar with the area, and they ray getting away with it. I am just like so sorry for anyone who s had to deal with this stuff. It s like really sad, you know. And I am just like hoping that by talking about it, maybe we can like raise awareness or something and make it safer for tourists. Because like everyone deserves to feel safe, you know. If you know, 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 if you know,